Indoor riding. When? Where? How? Why? Wait, what? So that's a good little intro there. How many times have you gotten to that first ride in the spring and you feel like you're dying? What happened? I was the king of the world on 2 wheels at the end of last season, and now I feel like I couldn't walk up a flight of stairs if I wanted to. Certainly not ride a bike up a flight of stairs. Indoor training might be the answer for you. How many times have you head into winter, packed your bike up in the garage, dust gathering on it, the holidays come, you eat 5 pumpkin pies at Thanksgiving, Christmas time, 6 boxes of your mom's Christmas cookies, you gain 45 pounds, and then you get on your bike in the spring and suddenly you've forgotten how to operate a bicycle. Indoor riding could be your solution. Let's talk about some of the pros and cons of indoor riding. The number one reason to put your bike on a trainer and ride inside is to maintain fitness in what would normally maybe be the off season. Also, you can do some structured riding. It's easy to do training to a certain particular plan during that off season as well. You don't have to, obviously you're not riding outside, so you don't have to spend 10-15 minutes putting on whatever winter gear you need, whether it's just riding at 40 degrees or 10 degrees. It could even be seen as being safer if the surfaces are particularly slippery in the wintertime. Another advantage to indoor riding, it's efficient. It's very efficient. You pedal more than you do outside, or more consistently, like you're pedaling almost all of the time. I mean, you can coast depending on the trainer, but you do more pedaling per minute than you would out on the road. So you can usually get a bigger workout in a smaller amount of time than you would riding outside. Also, having a trainer set up in your house with the bike on the trainer ready to go at any time, it's as quick as putting on whatever you're gonna wear to ride indoors, hop on the bike, and you're going. No gearing up, no getting outside, anything like that. So quick and easy, different way to ride. But again, maintaining fitness in the off season is the goal. Now let's talk about the cons. Obviously, I'm not here to tell you that riding inside is better than riding outside. There are people who love it, ride inside a lot. Would they say it's better than riding outside? It's up for debate. But I see it as a supplement. So some of the cons are, certainly, it's not as engaging as riding outside. It can be boring. Comfort can be an issue. Typically, depending on the kind of trainer you have, you're seated for more of the riding than you are when you ride outside. So those are things that we'll talk about. Nobody ever said, you remember that time in 2016, I had the most awesome trainer ride. I'll never forget it. At least I don't think so. That's not been my experience. But I have many, many, many rides outside that I still remember today, and remember what friends I rode with and where we went, what kind of stupid crap we did. And that has not happened for me with inside riding. So those would be some cons. But again, it's a supplement. You're maintaining your fitness during a season when you would ride at least less, if not ride at all, like some people. Another pro, unless you set your trainer up in the middle of the street in front of your house, the likelihood of getting hit by a car while training indoors is slim to none. Stationary bikes. Let's talk about the different kinds of trainers. There are multiple types that you can use. There's rollers, there's wheel-on trainers, there's direct drive trainers. And then there are actually complete smart bikes where instead of putting your bike on the trainer, it's actually like a bike and you can make all the seat and handlebar adjustments, but it's one big unit. And then of course there are stationary bikes as well, actual fitness equipment. So with the wheel-on trainers, which is what I'm going to call these, there might be another term. Back in the day they called them turbo trainers, maybe because this looks kind of like a turbo. The wheel is still on the bike and you're putting it on this roller back here. There's a couple different kinds of resistance units. There would be a magnetic resistance unit that has sort of stepped levels of resistance. And then this is a fluid trainer. With the fluid trainers, this is actually a fluid container with an impeller in there, and the resistance varies based on your input. So a spinny easy gear, it provides you with less resistance. You pedal harder, faster, higher gear, then you're going to get more resistance from the fluid unit. What we have here is a direct drive trainer. So clearly you can see we have removed the wheel of the bicycle. This trainer already has a cassette gear cluster on it. Basically putting your bike on this is the same as if you were changing a flat tire, only instead of putting the wheel and tire back in, you're going to put the bike on the trainer. This does provide electromagnetic resistance, and some trainers like this have a flywheel. The advantage to that is with a turbo trainer or a fluid trainer, when you stop pedaling, your rear wheel just comes to a stop pretty quickly because of the resistance on the rear tire. With this, the flywheel continues to turn. You can coast, so to speak. So when you resume pedaling, you can even be in the same gear, or maybe you're going to downshift one gear, but you don't lose all of your momentum. So you can continue riding without having to start from zero again. Let's talk about virtual riding. We're going to address the boredom now, the monotony, the drudgery of indoor riding. I'm not going anywhere. I'm stationary. How am I going to keep myself engaged with this training plan? Well, there is a solution. So smart trainers. Yeah, there are apps out there where if you have a smart trainer and your training apparatus, be it a direct drive or the wheel-on trainer, has sensors, the particular sensors that you need, you can pair with some virtual apps like Zwift, Trainer Road, Ruvi. I don't know all of them. There are more. Where you can ride virtually, you can ride by yourself, you can ride with other people, you can race virtually, you can do structured rides, structured training plans that even include, in some cases, yoga or flexibility workouts. Here's another one, Wahoo System, RGT. Many, many apps out there. What you need is some kinds of sensors. You've got speed and cadence sensors on the market, cadence being the amount of times you're pedaling per minute, heart rate monitor, and then in the case of the direct drive smart trainers, they have a power meter built in so you can see your massive amounts of watts that you're putting out. If you have a wheel-on trainer, really the only way you're going to get power with those would be, there are a very few that have a power meter, or you would have to have a power meter on your own bike. But I can speak from experience that using a virtual app for training has engaged me. I've never done a training ride over 20-30 minutes before when I was on my fluid trainer. I got a smart trainer, I can see the data, the numbers. Very interesting if that's the only thing I do is watch those numbers. But in a lot of the fitness apps, there are also kind of carrots, like if a virtual rider passes you, it says close the gap and you try to stay on that person's wheel. There are sprint portions in some of the rides. There are KOMs in some of the rides. You can try to improve your own times from a previous trainer ride where a ghost version of you shows up on the screen and you try to keep up with or pass your previous self. So for virtual riding, you do have to embrace our modern world.
Technology! Technology!
You will need Wi-Fi or some kind of internet connection. You will need a device, be it a smartphone or a tablet or a laptop or a smart television. And then obviously the sensors will have to be able to either pair Bluetooth or Ant Plus with your trainer, with your phone, with whatever device you're using. But you can also virtual training rides. Let's say that you're one of those people like myself that I like to track my riding all year long with Strava. Or there are also apps like Ride with GPS or Map My Ride, where you can see all of the other lovely data year long of your riding indoors or out, how many miles you ride, what bikes you put the mileage on, elevation, all of that. With a device and doing virtual training, you can upload those rides to those apps as well, so you can track your fitness and include your virtual riding in the totals that you like to look at the end of the year. Oh shit, what am I talking about now? I already forgot. Virtual riding. Virtual riding. All right, real quick, I'm gonna show you just off the trainer, back on the trainer with a direct drive. So as with any time you're removing a wheel, you're gonna have to articulate the derailleur. If you have a clutch derailleur, it's best to have the clutch off. It's a lot easier to do this. So you're gonna push it back like that, pull the bike up and get the chain out of the way, off the trainer, then you would put your wheel back in. And then to put it back on, I'm just gonna put the chain on the innermost cog there, pull the derailleur out of the way, set it back down. And then this bike has a through axle, so I would just put the axle in and tighten it down. Most of your direct drive trainers come with all of the adapters for every axle type, typically quick release, through axle. And in many cases, you're going to have the spacing that you need, whether it's a narrow older bicycle, or the 142 standard that's very common now, or even mountain bike boost. They've got the adapters that you need for all of that. All right, wheel on trainer. I'm gonna take it off, put it back on for you here. So first you will release the tension on the rear wheel with this knob here. This is gonna be very similar from brand to brand. I mean, there might be a slight difference in how one other brand does it versus another, but they're all pretty typically the same. So you just lefty-loosey, counterclockwise, until it's free from the tire. And then we're gonna go up here to this lever here. Typically, you're gonna wanna hold on to the bike and push this lever forward. And it's pretty tight. It has a good spring tension to hold it in tight. Goes like that. And then the bike drops out and it's not in there. To put it back in, we're gonna be putting the cylindrical end of the quick release in here, and then we'll do that lever over to catch this side of the quick release once we have it on there. It's important that that be down and away from the tire so that you can get it properly lined up. So first you pick it up, put the non-drive side end of the quick release in there, and then locate the other quick release into the hole, push it. Now it's in tight. Then you're gonna wanna tighten this down. Sometimes this takes a little trial and error. If it's just barely touching the tire, you can pedal hard enough to make it slip. See how I'm slipping? That's not turning as much. So you want to make sure you squeeze the tire enough so that you can't really get it to slip. I'd probably squeeze it a little more than that because my legs are stronger than my arms. Yeah, and that's putting it on, or taking it off. That's taking it off and putting it on. In that order. You'll probably do it the other way. You'll put it on first and then take it off at some point. Action. All right. These are some accessories that you can use with trainers, wheel on or direct drive. With a wheel on trainer, when you put the bike on the trainer, it lifts the rear of the bike. Not significantly, but enough that it can sometimes change the geometry of the bike and put you in a more forward riding position. Having a riser block like this has actually multiple positions with different heights, can help level you out. Sometimes if you want a more intense workout, you could stack 2 or 3 of these and raise the front of the bike and actually change your position on the bike to get a different type of workout. Another thing you want to consider with a wheel-on trainer is possibly using a dedicated trainer tire. Because of the tire interface with a roller on the back and the fact that you're not moving, you're not getting wind, you're generating a fair amount of heat on that rear tire, and a regular tire you'll destroy one in one season. You can certainly use a regular tire. It should probably just be one that you don't care about and be ready to replace it before you go ride outside. These tires are made with a much harder rubber that are heat resistant and will last you several seasons before you have to replace them. Typically they cost about the same as a regular tire. And then for a wheel-on trainer, most of them do require kind of the classic quick release that is real cylindrical on both ends. You can't have a funky square lever or something like a lot of modern bikes have to look cool, but they don't function well with the wheel-on trainer.
Ready?
I'm thinking.
What are you thinking about?
Just where I'm going with it. And we've reached the end of the video. If you have any questions, please come by the shop. Yeah. Well, sadly, it appears we've reached the end of this video. We're really excited about having the YouTube channel, and this is video number 3. So give us a like or subscribe. You know, the stuff they always, is it over here, down here, down here? I don't know, you'll find it, right? But indoor riding, if you have any questions just about the experience of indoor riding or about trainers or accessories or anything like that, we love to talk about these things at Walt's Bike Shop, so please come by and see me or anyone else. We all know what's going on. I am a human being.
I'm a human being, God damn it!
And my research into this video, I wouldn't call it in-depth. I'm sure there's people out there who have more knowledge than I do, or possibly a better memory than me, and maybe we've reached the end of this filming and felt like we covered everything, and we didn't. So politely respond with corrections or suggestions or tips that you feel like I missed or that are important, because we all want to know how to ride indoors competently, right? Nobody likes to be incompetent. Anyways, I'm Sam with Walt's Bike Shop. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Whew. Actually tired. Safety first.